Hello, this is Fast Forward EV, and this is the winter weather range test of the ID.4 all-wheel drive. Okay, we are at the EVgo chargers about 4 miles from the highway, getting charged up to 100%. We started about 65% state of charge, and it was getting about 27 kilowatts at that time when the pack was pretty cold after a short drive from home. And now it's pulling 52, which seems pretty good, I would say. And I do have car scanner now, so I got that working down here. And as we can see, battery min temp 67. That's really good. Max 74 and the inlet 98. So there is a significant battery heater capability in the ID.4. It's just we don't have any way to pre-trigger it. That screen is so reflective, it might as well be a mirror. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to get an anti-glare screen for that iPad if I'm going to use it for this purpose. Alright, we're at 99%. Just waiting for it to tick to 100. Then the charging will stop. We'll get unplugged and we'll get on the road. That was the sound. Clunk. Fully charged. Let's get unplugged and get going. It's a rather chilly day, about 30, just around freezing, and everything's slushy and covered in snow. Okay, we need to reset the trip meter. Let's see, I think we go to vehicle. Yes, and start. Where's the reset button? All right. That's better. All right. Finally going. Okay, as per standard for this test, we have the climate control set to auto on 72 degrees. We're starting from a full charge from a DC fast charger, so the battery is warm. And we're going to try to go as close to 70 miles an hour for the whole time as we can. We've got a 4-mile stretch of 65 mile an hour road here to get to the highway, and then I'll be doing a loop. I've got about a 20-mile highway loop, and I can do a 10-mile loop if I need to when we get close to empty. So I'll check in when we get to 75% state of charge and see how far we've gone. Looks like I forgot to mention the car's predicted range. It was saying 224 at 100% state of charge. So that's its guesstimate. I'll be really surprised if we get over 200. Chevy Bolt EUV with about a 12 kilowatt hour less battery pack, but a smaller car with more efficiency. Did 184-ish on this same test. So if we break 200, then this thing's doing really good, in my opinion. Boy, this little Fiat could use some mud flaps, kicking up some serious water. Truck, truck, truck. Okay, we're set at 70, and we're just in for a cruising. You know, it occurs to me that we don't have to keep to a little 20-mile loop when we're at the beginning of this. I could easily do a 60-mile loop on the first one. So I think I'm going to do that, just to save some boredom of looping the same 20 miles over and over and over again. Let's burn 60 miles up front, see where we are. Maybe we do that twice, and then we're close to done. And then I maybe have to do a 20 or a 10. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we are coming up on the far end of our extended loop, and this is definitely a good idea. In addition to it being longer, so there's less boredom, gives me more options for later. This particular exit has a pair of ChargePoint 50 kilowatt chargers at a Dunkin' Donuts that is actually free. So if I were to need a charge during a test and I was on this extended loop, both ends have chargers, so pretty good. Got a Tiguan ahead of us, and we're about to be passed by what I believe is an Atlas. Well, that's a Tiguan too. Both of you guys should be in ID.4s. Same size. No gas. Well, okay, we just hit 75% state of charge, and we have gone 50 miles. Interesting. Multiply that by 4, you get 200. So 200 would be the optimistic prediction at this point, not the 224 that the system was predicting when we started out. So we are approaching our near point turnaround point. We'll have done about 73 miles on our first loop. I like that. Let's just do that again. Okay, we are on our second loop, and I think I'm going to do the same thing, go all the way to the one that's 35 miles away and turn around. Should get us about as much as 2/3 through the pack by the time we're done with that. One thing I just remembered that I wanted to point out, compared to the Bolt EUV test, is we are on the factory supplied wheels and tires. The Bolt had winter tires, and it needed them desperately. But for the ID.4, it comes with these Pirelli Scorpion All Seasons on 20-inch rims, and they're huge tires, relatively speaking. For now, we're just on the factory tires, and we're doing okay. One thing we have on this long loop that we didn't have on the other loops is there is more of a grade, a bit of up and down happening on this section of highway. But, you know, that's what loops are for, is to cancel out that stuff. Okay, we reached 50% state of charge. I actually missed when it ticked over to 50%. It is still on 50%, but I'm not exactly sure when it happened. Could have been as much as a mile ago. But it is showing that we've gone 105 miles. So doing 5 miles longer in the second quarter than we did in the first, that's different than other cars I've seen. Usually the first 25% gets you in the most range, and then after that you get less and less. This actually went 5 miles farther. But anyway, we're coming up on our far point for turnaround real soon, and we'll report back in at 25%. I've engaged travel assist to let the ID.4 turn itself for a little while, give me a bit of a break. It does this very well. It's very smooth. And it's effortless to engage when you're already in cruise control. Of course, every time you're in cruise control, you're automatically in adaptive cruise control, so it slows down if there's a car ahead of you, speeds up when there isn't. So that's already very nice, and I had first experienced that in the Bolt EUV. I'd never seen it, had it in a car before, and I thought that was quite a miracle. It's nothing compared to adaptive cruise control with automatic steering. that's a whole nother ball game. And it's very easy. You just push the button right there to turn it on and off when you're already in cruise control. You get these nifty little green lines up here. And to me, it feels as smooth as a human. I guess I can show what happens when you don't touch the steering wheel for a long time. Taking my hands off the wheel. Take over steering. Okay. So yeah, it took like less than 30 seconds for it to complain that I wasn't touching the steering wheel. It instilled confidence right away, which I guess is always the danger with automated systems. They appear more competent than they are. And there are plenty of circumstances where if these dotted lines on the highway disappear for some reason, or it's snow covered, or the radar gets covered with ice, that it could very suddenly just stop being able to do it at all, or not know that the data it's getting is bad and make a corrective action that actually pushes you into another vehicle or something. So I'll be very surprised that if in my lifetime it is common or easy in a regularly available vehicle to just hop in, tell it where to go, and it takes you point A to point B without any human supervision at the very least. And as long as a human is responsible, and as long as a human has to pay attention, it's not that different than driving yourself. I think it's arguably worse, in the same way that being a driving instructor is worse than being the driver, because you have all the responsibilities of the driver, but almost none of the control. So it's just anxiety making when you have to be ever vigilant for the invisible teenager that's driving your car to make sure that they don't make a mistake. Coming up on our near point loop. All right, we have hit 25% state of charge. It says we've gone 157 miles. So that's 52 miles. So the first stint we went 50, the second we went 55, and the third we went 52. That's really quite impressive, I think. Not seeing any drop off in the as we get deeper into the pack. So the question becomes, do I take it all the way to the long loop again? We have predicted 57 miles of range left. I would say we probably have at least 50 based on prior experience here. And I believe we're well within that mileage to get to the far point, turn around, and get back. Okay, the car is now warning me at 20% that I need to charge my vehicle and I should search for a charging station nearby. I have seen this already before, and I'm glad it does this. I could do the search it wants to do here, but we're heading away from our ultimate destination, which is back where we started. But we can see if it'll show options. Let's see what it says. It's mentioning the Electrify America ahead of us, which is 2 exits from where we are. So that's no good. So I'm going to cancel that, and maybe I'll try again once we've turned around and are heading back. Okay, watching things tick down. This is going to be fairly close. When we get off at this exit, this is exit 165, mile marker 165. We have to get back to 131, so that's 34 miles. And that's the exit, and then we got to go 4 miles beyond that to get back to the charging stations we started at. There is 38 miles predicted range right now, and we haven't even gotten to the turnaround point yet, and that's another couple miles away. I'm tempted to risk it and just do the loop and hope we make it. Right, we are on our way back to our starting point, and it will be a little white knuckly. We have about 32 miles to go, and we have about 33 miles predicted of range. So I think I'm going to turn off climate control now, because I don't want to get stranded on the highway. It is not worth maintaining some kind of high level of integrity of apples to apples comparison here. So let's go into climate, turn it off. Heated seat off. Okay, now it says 10% range. It's still 10% state of charge, 24 miles predicted range. Those numbers don't add up. We don't get 24 miles with 10% of the battery. That's not a thing that happens in the winter. 20 would be what we're guessing we get. So this is really starting to concern me that we won't make it to the exit. I am parked behind a truck, and it happens to be going 70, so I'm not going slower than 70, but I am getting a bit of a wind break. So yeah, that'll be really our decision point, is that the exit after this one that's coming up, 10 miles beyond this one. Do we stop while we have some electricity to find a solution, or do we keep going in the hopes that we will make it back to the EVgo starting point? Okay, I just did a search on the built-in navigation, and it says the EVgo is 26 miles away. We only have 21 miles predicted range. I don't think we're going to make it. I think we're going to have to bail at 61 and like find an outlet.
The destination is on the limited access road. You must charge your vehicle during your trip in order to reach your destination. Please map out the charging stops yourself, since they are not automatically included.
Yeah. So it just said, not gonna work. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna get off at the exit before our destination exit and limp home from there, because that's all 2-lane roads back to home from that point. And so we can forget going to the fast chargers. We can just go really slow. The weather is not helping. It has gotten markedly worse. It's still over 40 degrees, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like the temperature outside has dropped significantly. It isn't showing up that way on the temperature gauge in the car. But it feels a lot colder outside, and it is snowing and sleeting basically at this point. So this is about as bad as winter driving weather gets. And the timing for that is oh so perfect. As you can see, we're down to 6%. It's still claiming 16 miles of range, which again, those numbers don't really correlate with each other. 16 miles is high for that much state of charge. I am tucked behind this truck, as you can see. We're only going 63 miles an hour, but I'm going to give myself a pass on that because it is really super important that I not get stranded on the highway in the winter in my EV. Here we come up on our exit, our bailing exit.
Please change one lane to the left.
Oh, that navigation is still going on. How do I stop that? There we go. Okay, we're going to see if we can get away with 35 miles an hour all the way home. These are essentially 45 mile an hour speed limit roads, unmarked. So of course everybody goes 65. Okay, I have a car coming up behind me, so I think I'm going to have to go at least 45. If I can make it to our turn just up ahead, and if he goes straight, we'll be fine. And he didn't turn, that's good. Scott, are you on drugs? Don't go 50. That's too fast. Still nobody behind me. This bridge is taking us over the highway we bailed off of. This set of roads back to my home kind of crisscrosses near the highway. 2% state of charge, 7 miles predicted range. %2 is quite low enough for this test for me, if you ask me. Waiting for this to tick down to 1%. This is not how I do these. I don't like taking it all the way to the bottom. So we're going to make it back to my house. We're not going to be stranded, I don't think. But we'll need to leave it up to you guys whether this is a valid range test or not, since we spent the last 15 miles of it creeping home as economically as we possibly could, rather than hammering it with the heat on at 70 miles an hour. Two miles predicted range. I'm kind of going too fast. I should probably slow down. There's still nobody behind me, which I am very grateful for. One mile predicted range. My home is in sight. We're in the garage. Made it home. 1% state of charge, 0 miles predicted range. Charge vehicle now. Otherwise, the battery may be damaged. And we're plugged in. So you can see it's getting 7 kilowatts from the home charger. And we made it. We took it all the way down, as farther than I would have wished to have taken it down. I don't want to repeat that anytime soon. But what was our distance? Well, since start, 215 miles. Now, how much of that do we attribute to bailing 10 miles before our official exit? As many as 10 miles of that was because we bailed. So 205 is not an unreasonable guesstimate for what our range test conclusion should be. And that is definitely higher than I was expecting by at least 10 miles an hour. I would not have been surprised if it had been in the ballpark of the Bolt at 184. But with a 12 kilowatt hours of additional energy, it went a little farther. So pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Now we'll see what happens in the summer, where I will not repeat going down this far. See you on the next one.